15 things narcissists want from you after you no contact. Imagine this. You've finally taken a brave step forward. You cut ties when no contact and started rebuilding your life. For the first time in what feels like forever, you breathe easier, sleep better, and feel a little more like yourself again. But then, out of nowhere it happens. A message, a call, maybe even an appearance through someone else. And just like that, all your progress feels shaken. What they want isn't love. It's not closure. It's not even revenge. At least not in the way most people understand it. What narcissists truly want from you after you've gone no contact is far more calculated, manipulative, and emotionally draining than many realize. In this video, we're going to take a deep dive into the psychology behind what narcissists want after you've removed yourself from their lives. We'll explore 15 key things they try to get from you and why they can't simply walk away like a normal person would. This isn't about blaming victims or overcomplicating toxic relationships. It's about understanding the patterns so you can protect yourself, heal fully, and reclaim your peace. Because once you understand why narcissists behave the way they do, it becomes much easier to stay strong when they come crawling back. Let's begin by looking at the core motivation behind everything a narcissist does. Control. For them, life is a game where they must always be in charge. When you go no contact, you break the rules. That's not something they can easily accept. So they start plotting. They look for ways to pull you back in. Not because they miss you, but because they miss the power they once had over you. Their entire sense of self-worth is tied to how others react to them. Without you, they feel empty. So they try to refill that void by getting something from you, even if it's anger, confusion, or pain. The first thing they want? Your attention. Even negative attention fuels them. A fight, a confrontation, a plea. All of it keeps them feeling alive. Because when you engage, even slightly, they regain a sense of influence. And that feels good to them. Think of it like a drug. They need a reaction to keep their emotional high going. Whether it's outrage, sadness, or even pity, any kind of engagement validates their presence in your life. Second, they want validation. Narcissists are constantly seeking approval to prop up their fragile egos. By provoking a reaction, any reaction, they get the reassurance that they still matter to you. This gives them a temporary ego boost, which is often all they're chasing. If you respond, even with a "you're right," they interpret as proof that you still care. Third, they want praise. Whether it's a compliment, an apology, or even a subtle acknowledgement of their importance, narcissists need constant admiration. If you give it to them, even out of politeness, they'll take it as proof that you still admire them. That's why they often test boundaries by asking for favors or fishing for compliments. They want to know how much influence they still have. Fourth, they want information. They don't just want to know what you're doing. They want to compare, compete, and assess whether you're better off without them. If you are, they'll try to bring you down. If you're struggling, they'll exploit it. Either way, they gain leverage. That's why they might ask mutual friends about you, stalk your social media, or reach out pretending to be concerned. Fifth, they want access to your life, your emotions, your schedule, anything that gives them leverage. The more they know, the more they can manipulate. That's why they often try to reinsert themselves under the guise of just wanting to talk. Once they're back in your orbit, it's only a matter of time before they try to take control again. Six, they want sympathy. Suddenly, they have problems. They've been lonely. They've made mistakes. They want you to feel sorry for them. It's a classic manipulation tactic. Make you believe they've changed, so you let your guard down. They'll share sob stories, confess past regrets, or even cry on the phone. But it's rarely genuine. It's a performance meant to draw you back in. Seventh, they want forgiveness. Not because they're remorseful, but because being forgiven allows them to reset the relationship on their terms. Once you forgive, they feel free to act the same way again. Because you've proven you'll tolerate it. Forgiveness becomes a loophole for them to repeat the cycle without consequences. Eighth, they want a second chance. They might say they've changed. They might promise to do better. But narcissists rarely change unless forced by consequences they can't ignore. Going back usually means falling into the same cycle. They'll apologize, act lovingly for a while, and then slowly return to old behaviors. And since you gave them another shot, they feel justified in treating you poorly. Ninth, they want sex. Intimacy is another form of control. Even if everything else has fallen apart, physical connection gives them a powerful emotional grip. It blurs boundaries and makes it harder for you to walk away again. That's why many narcissists use sex as a tool, whether it's seduction, guilt, or flattery, to lure you back into their world. 10th, they want money. Financial dependence is one of the most effective and manipulative tools a narcissist uses to keep control in a relationship. Even after you've gone no contact, they may still try to pull you back in by creating situations where they appear to need your financial help. Whether it's through direct requests for money, like asking for a loan, a gift, or assistance with everyday expenses, they will frame their needs as urgent or unavoidable, making it seem like you have a responsibility to step in. They are skilled at twisting emotions to make you feel guilty if you hesitate or say no, often implying that your refusal shows you don't care or aren't supportive. In some cases, they won't just ask outright. They'll fabricate problems or exaggerate minor difficulties into full-blown crises to pressure you into giving them money. These false emergencies can involve made-up medical issues, sudden job loss, car troubles, or legal problems, all designed to push your emotional buttons and get you to open your wallet. The goal isn't about solving their financial struggles. It's about keeping you emotionally entangled and financially obligated so they can continue exerting influence over your life. By making you feel responsible for their well-being, they maintain a connection that feeds their need for control and keeps you from fully moving on. 11th, they want emotional support. They will often reach out under the pretense of needing support, sharing their latest struggles, failures, or emotional crises, as if you are still obligated to help them. They'll pour their problems onto you without warning or restraint, making it seem like you're the only person who can understand or assist them. This constant emotional dumping is not about genuine connection or seeking real solutions. It's a tactic meant to make you feel responsible for their well-being, even when you've already made the decision to step away. It's incredibly draining because it pulls your focus away from your own recovery and places it back on their needs, which are endless and never truly satisfied. Whether it's a late-night phone call filled with sobbing and desperation, pages-long texts detailing every minor setback as if it's a major catastrophe, or subtle guilt-laden comments that imply you owe them your time and sympathy, all of these behaviors are carefully designed to keep you emotionally tied to them. The more involved you become in their drama, the harder it becomes to maintain your boundaries and continue healing. They know this, and they use it to their advantage by keeping you stuck in a cycle of emotional obligation and exhaustion. Their goal isn't to improve their life. It's to keep you invested in theirs, ensuring that you remain within their influence, no matter how much it costs you. 12th, they want social validation. If you are clearly doing well without them, if you found happiness, stability, or personal growth, they see it as a serious blow to their ego. To a narcissist, your success without them is more than just uncomfortable. It's unacceptable because it undermines the idea that they were essential to your life. In their mind, if you can be happy and thrive without their presence, it means they weren't as important or irreplaceable as they wanted to believe. That kind of realization threatens their entire sense of self-worth and superiority. As a result, they may try to pull you back into conflict or drama, not because they care about you, but because they want to disrupt your peace and regain control. They might stir up old issues, start arguments, or provoke emotional reactions just to remind you that they still have power over you. In some cases, they may even attempt to damage your reputation by spreading rumors, making false accusations, or embarrassing you in public. These actions are not about you at all. They're about protecting their own fragile self-image. By trying to bring you down or tarnish how others see you, they hope to restore their own sense of importance and dominance. The bottom line is that they cannot tolerate being replaced or forgotten, and your happiness without them represents exactly that. It's not about fairness or logic. It's about their need to feel superior, no matter the cost to you. 13th, they want jealousy. They may go out of their way to show off a new relationship, inflate stories about their achievements, or casually mention how much more fulfilling their life has become since you left. These actions are not random or innocent. They are deliberate attempts to provoke a reaction from you. They aren't sharing this information because they're genuinely happy or trying to move on in a healthy way. Instead, they want to make you feel uncertain about your choice to walk away. Their goal is to plant seeds of doubt in your mind, making you question whether you did the right thing, whether you missed out on something valuable, or whether you were too quick to end the relationship. It's a psychological tactic designed to shake your confidence and pull you back into their orbit by making you second-guess yourself. They thrive on the idea that you might be wondering if life would have been better had you stayed, and they use these subtle or exaggerated displays as proof that they're doing just fine, better than you, perhaps without you. It's not about genuine fulfillment for them. It's about control, ego, and the need to remind you that they still hold power over your emotions. 14th, they want control over your future. Even if you choose not to respond to their attempt to reach out, narcissists often find other ways to stay involved in your life. They may resort to watching your online activity closely, checking your social media profiles frequently, or using mutual acquaintances to gather information about you. Their goal is to keep track of your whereabouts, the people you spend time with, and the things you're doing, even from a distance. This kind of behavior goes beyond simple curiosity or concern. It's more like a quiet but persistent form of surveillance. They disguise their actions as caring or interest, but in reality, they are trying to maintain a sense of control over your life, even when you've clearly stepped away. The need to know what you're up to comes from a place of insecurity and obsession. They cannot tolerate being left out of the loop because it takes away their ability to influence or disrupt your life. Without that knowledge, they feel powerless, and that feeling drives them to keep looking for ways to stay connected, even if it means invading your privacy or manipulating others to get the information they want. At the very core of their relentless pursuit lies one final and deeply ingrained motivation. They want to win. For a narcissist, the idea of being left or rejected is not just painful, it's intolerable. They cannot accept that you have moved on, especially if you're doing so without them. To them, your happiness outside of their control represents a loss of power, a personal defeat that they cannot easily stomach. This isn't about love or even attachment in any healthy sense. It's about ego, dominance, and the need to prove that they are still in charge. So they continue to reach out, to provoke, to charm, to guilt trip, and to manipulate, using whatever tactics they believe might work. Their persistence doesn't come from affection, but from an inability to tolerate the idea that they've lost control over someone who once gave them attention and validation. If they can't win you back, they will often move on to someone else who can fill that void, but they leave behind a trail of confusion, doubt, and emotional strain for you to sort through. All of these behaviors, the manipulation, the emotional games, the constant need for admiration, are rooted in something far more fragile than they ever let on. Narcissists may appear confident, even arrogant, but beneath that carefully constructed mask lies an intense and often crippling insecurity. They live in fear of being seen as ordinary, flawed, or unimportant because those things threaten the image they've built for themselves. That image is not just how they want others to see them, but how they desperately need to see themselves. Without constant validation, they feel hollow, incomplete, and unworthy. This deep internal struggle is what fuels their need to dominate others, to seek control, and to never allow themselves to be vulnerable or wrong. It's why they lash out when challenged, why they refuse to take responsibility, and why they cannot handle rejection gracefully. Everything they do is designed to protect this fragile self-image, even if it means hurting the people around them. But here's the most important truth to remember. None of this has anything to do with your worth or your value. It never did. The way they behave, the things they try to get from you, and the ways they attempt to pull you back are all reflections of their own inner turmoil, not yours. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that if only you could explain yourself better, set clearer boundaries, or show them how much pain they're causing, they would change. But narcissists don't operate on logic or empathy the way most people do. Their actions are driven by a need to protect their ego at all costs, and that often means exploiting the people closest to them. Recognizing this truth, that their behavior is not a reflection of you, is one of the most powerful realizations you can have on your healing journey. It allows you to step back, stop questioning yourself, and begin rebuilding your life with clarity and strength. Choosing to go no contact is one of the healthiest decisions you can make for your emotional well-being. It gives you space to heal, reflect, and reclaim your sense of self. But it's also one of the most difficult choices, especially when they keep trying to pull you back in with familiar tactics. guilt, flattery, sympathy plays, or even threats. Know what they truly want from you, and understand that their motivations are entirely self-serving can help you stay grounded and resistant to their influence. It becomes easier to ignore the messages, resist the urge to respond, and avoid falling into old patterns when you realize that their goal is not reconciliation or growth, but control. You didn't walk away because you were weak. You walked away because you finally saw the truth. And now, you have the opportunity to protect that truth and continue building a life that is free from manipulation, toxicity, and emotional games. You deserve peace. You deserve respect. You deserve to live a life where your emotions are honored, your boundaries are respected, and your happiness is not contingent on someone else's approval or control. Healing takes time, and there may be moments when their attempts to reconnect stir up old feelings or doubts. But every time you choose yourself over their chaos, you grow stronger. Every moment you spend focusing on your own recovery instead of their drama brings you closer to the life you truly deserve. One filled with genuine love, authentic connection, and the freedom to be yourself without fear of judgment or exploitation. If you found this video helpful, please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing it with someone who might benefit from hearing this truth. Healing is possible, and understanding the mind of a narcissist is a crucial step toward freedom. Thank you for watching.